Welcome. Thank you for joining Happy and Better.TV. We are so grateful that you're tuning in today. And boy, do we have a great show for you. How many times has something happened to you and you go, oh, I've got to say it to somebody. I've got to tell somebody. Well, guess what? I'm discovering, no, we don't. We don't have to tell anybody. We can write it in a journal. Our guest today is going to tell us his experience in using and writing his journal. Thank you so much for joining us, Sid.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Wonderful having you here. Now, how did you get into writing a journal?
Well, you want the long story or the short?
The TV version.
Okay, TV version. Well, I have to tell you that I've never journaled. I've had people suggest it, but I always thought I couldn't write. And 3 years ago, the idea occurred to me, I might want to do a journal because I was doing some spiritual studies and I was interested in documenting my thoughts as I went along. And I thought a journal would be a perfect place to write them down, and no one had to see them but me.
Good. That's what I'm thinking. Because so many times I know people will have a challenge, as I like to call it. And in that situation, they tell 3 or 4 people things about the challenge. The challenge will pass. And now the other 4 people are still buzzing about it. And they want to bring it to a halt, to let it rest. But when you journal, it's private. I like that part of it.
An interesting thing about journaling, you'll get some thoughts that you don't want to share, but you've been thinking about them. And once you write it down, I discovered I stopped thinking about them. I got it out. I didn't have to tell my friend. I told my book.
You know, that's so powerful. That's a habit I have, thank God, picked up. Before going to bed each night, I write everything I can think of that I want to address the next day. And that's powerful because instead of doing what I used to do, which was be startled out of my sleep, oh, I've got to this, oh, I've got, with all these got-tos, now they're on my paper. I just get up that next day and see if I can make it through half of that list. And it's wonderful. So yeah, it's a private way to help control your mind and your day. So how long have you been keeping a journal?
Well, to be specific, it started September 20th, 2012. And I can remember it so well because that's the day I started it, had some notes of why I was doing it, that I wanted to monitor my inner voice. And sometimes I call it the God voice, but you know, there's always something going on in your mind, the inner voice. And my challenge to myself was to discern the God thoughts, the thoughts that I should take action on.
Nice.
And then I'm going to say to fearlessly take the action that came to my mind without worry about the results. I might like the results, I may not like the results, but I feel strongly that my soul needed that experience.
Can you give us an example of one of these experiences?
Well, basically, I can give you the good examples.
Thank you.
I don't remember bad ones. The one that, the most significant thing that came to me, and this happened within the first week of journaling, was the idea to write a letter to God. Fortunately, I saved the postage because I didn't have to mail it. But I wrote a letter to God asking for guidance for service to make a difference, and then forgot about it. And within 30 days, I had found a book that really moved me, that I thought, this book can make a difference. If I can just show you for a moment.
Okay.
It's the Dalai Lama's cat.
Okay.
And it's a story of a rescued kitten by the Dalai Lama, learns the Buddhist teaching and applies it to its cat life. And the cat narrates the story with humor. And when I thought, when I finish the book, I've got to make a movie. Well, later I looked in my journal, and on the very first day I started reading it. My journal says, started reading the Dalai Lama cat book. I'm going, not I think I should, not that maybe I will, I'm going to contact the author about a movie.
Okay, so it was in your spirit. You wrote it in your journal. You pick up a book and it confirms. It affirmed that feeling. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Because many times people have thoughts, I'll call them fleeting thoughts. And it's like, well, I should. Yes, I should. But then they can talk themselves out of it. I've seen that happen. But they go, I should something, and they let it go. And they don't get that confirmation in a short period of time, and they just let it dissipate.
Yes. So the wonderful thing about the movie project was I've never made a movie before. I call it my first rodeo. I didn't know how to make a movie. I didn't know anybody in the movie business. But I did know one thing. You need to get the screen rights from the author. So I sent him an email.
And was this the book Cat you're talking about? This is a book you contact the author about the
Yes.
screenplay? Great.
And everything, I took each step as it came along. Met his agent, his publisher, and they introduced me to a production company in London. We met up. They liked me. I liked them. And we're in the process of moving forward with the project. And,
Wow.
and I've held the vision, and here, I've used this expression, and I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I didn't know I couldn't make the movie, therefore I'm making one.
That is so true of so many situations and animals I think of in nature. Nobody tells them they can't do something, so they just do it.
Yes.
You just took baby steps and made your way, and now you're looking toward making your movie when?
Well, we have our director now. We have a script we love, and we're in the process of working out the budget and then go for the money.
Good. Now, in your journal, are you writing about the movie, what you're doing every day, and keeping copious notes?
Well, it's not an everyday thing, but as I've been tracking it, the pluses, the good and the bad. When you were asking about did something bad happen to me, well, I went for the first script writer. I'm on my second script writer. The first one gave me the script, and we went through about 5 revisions over about 9 months, and couldn't quite get it right. And then finally had to face it. The team that I'm working with said, we need a new script. Within 30 days, we have a new script writer. We like him. He liked the book. And within 90 days, I had a new script. Last September, it came in, and it just really... You
guys are moving pretty fast. I have a couple of friends that are movie makers, and their projects seem to take a very long time to get where you are. You've been very blessed, very fortunate. Now, I asked you before, are you writing every day, or how do you decide when to enter something into your journal?
Well, it's been a couple years, and I'm on my 4th journal. And I don't write every day. I usually have streaks. Or I might go and just put some notes. But the interesting thing, going back to the very beginning when I first started to write and didn't have the confidence, well, I can do it, but I was determined to do it. And I just discovered within a couple of days I only had to write the first sentence, which could be what happened that day. But once I started to write and thoughts came into my head, I want to say I was blessed that I didn't censor my thoughts of judging my thoughts. I wrote what I was thinking fearlessly. And it was an incredible, exhilarating experience. And once I wrote things down, I didn't have to think about them again.
Great. It sounds like you really allowed yourself to be free. You release your thoughts in your journal. And by releasing them in the journal, you were free to really explore. It gave you that freedom of motion, I'll call it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, to go back to the beginning, the first week where I said, it occurred to me to write a letter to God asking for guidance. But a few days before that, the idea hit me. You owe some letters to people asking for forgiveness. We always talk about to forgive others is a great blessing, forgiving someone else is great, but it's a bit more for you in your forgiveness. And I was looking at it, well, I don't have so many people I need to forgive, but I have some people I need to ask for forgiveness for things, my transgressions over my lifetime. Wow. I ended up with 16 names of family and friends going back 50 years.
Really?
And I wrote 2 a day for 8 days, and I haven't looked at them since. They're usually a full page. I felt good when I finished, and just about everybody had either made their transition or I didn't know where they were, so I didn't have to mail them because it was the exercise for my soul.
Yes.
And it's totally like cleared my space for something creative, and that's how I got into the movie project and other things that followed. I've got 3 different topics I want to do books on.
Wow.
I've never written a book, but I'm ready to go.
Sid, this is so powerful. I have been carrying a burden. I had an appointment with a couple, and at the very last minute, my mentor, who told me to go to law school, who told me to run for judge, she's a very good friend of Diana Ross. And she called, she says, I need you to come and meet Diana Ross. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm so excited. Well, forgetting that I had this prior commitment that we had been talking about for 2 weeks. And I still, to this day, this was a month ago, I feel so guilty. I went to see Diana Ross, you can guess. But I feel so guilty that I canceled on them at the last minute. So I'm going to follow your path. Thank you for teaching.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to write them a letter. And it will be for me of expressing my deep regret that I did that. And I called it a social faux pas at the last minute. But I was torn. But that's good. I'm going to do that. But they're not the only ones I can write to. That's the recent one I can write to. But that's a good technique. Because through life, I think we misstep. You know, none of us are perfect. We're trying to be good people. We're trying to treat others the way we would like to be treated. But we make mistakes. So write a letter of apology. That's very good. Very cleansing. Very cleansing.
Whether you mail it or not,
right.
It feels good.
Powerful. Powerful. Very good.
There's something else that occurred to me just as we were getting ready to go on the air, that I brought my journal just to show you what I was working with, and it's got a picture of the Eiffel Tower.
Nice.
Which I've been to Paris once when I was a teenager, and I was there a week with my family, and my grandmother said, you ought to write a journal this week of all the things that you're doing. And I didn't do it. You know, I thought, well, I'm good with numbers, but I can't write. But I have to tell you, because I've thought about it over the years, and I shared that week I was there. Right now, I won't do it, but I could tell you what we did every day. Maybe not in the right order, but I knew all the places that we went.
Sure.
And going up to the top of the Eiffel Tower was a big thrill.
You know, when you were telling me about keeping a journal, I thought about all the wonderful ways that a journal can be passed on to other family members. Like if moms, not having to write every day, but whenever they could take a moment and put their thoughts about their children or what happened that day, different situations. I think that is so lovely. And to give that to a child, you know. I heard the story recently about a mom who always, it was Jeff Bridges telling the story. He said his mom always took time, she called it. And she had 3 kids, and she would take time with each one separately. And if anyone tried to call her or visit or interrupt time with Jeff, say, she would tell them, I can't. I'm with Jeff, and this is Jeff's time. And she did that throughout their childhood. So they grew up having special moments with her only. So I'm thinking a journal could be just as powerful to leave to a child or give to a child on their graduation, their wedding day, so many great occasions.
I like that idea because as you're saying that, I'm thinking in this day and age with the iPhones and being able to take pictures, that we can create photo albums online and send them to the kids.
Yes.
And document the trips and things that you do with the children, because they're playing and you don't have to go get the little brownie camera to take a picture. Everyone's got their phone with them. And take the pictures, or your pets. I mean, I run around the house taking pictures of my cats.
Oh boy, you're lucky. I want a little puppy. Okay, Sid, this is really important. You said a couple of times just in this interview about how you thought about something and your mind sort of said, no, you can't write, or no, you can't, but you overcame that. What do you think helped you overcome that negative voice that was trying to talk to you?
I would call it the intention. My intention to write in a journal and document what I did during the year, from responding consciously with awareness to my thoughts, with the idea that I would have enough material to write a book.
Yes.
Well, I haven't written the book, but I'm doing something I think bigger with the movie project.
Yes, it is.
And I was fearless in my writing, and here's I think is the most interesting experience of the beginning of the journaling. I filled the book, and I didn't read a single page I had written till after I'd finished filling up this book. And I started the second book, and I'm thinking, oh, what did I write in this one? And let me tell you, I started reading it, and I had one thought all the way through it. Who wrote this? Because I was writing totally new thoughts, creative thoughts about different subjects, particularly in the area of spirituality and my faith and my belief, which is now stronger than when, because I started talking about it, and now I can talk to other people about my faith.
That is so beautiful. Well, you've shared two great concepts, several concepts actually. We should start keeping a journal for ourselves. We should think in terms of writing letters of apology for whatever's in our spirit, and perhaps a little bump in the road for our lives. And also, I like the idea that you overcame those thoughts that tried to impede you and say you couldn't. You did it anyway. You went and did it anyway.
I didn't know I couldn't do it.
I read a great quote sometime. It said, don't believe everything you think. So when your mind may say you can, you shouldn't, there's somebody bigger, better, stronger, it doesn't matter. Don't believe that. Try it anyway.
Thank you. I like that. Tonight in my journal, I'm writing, the first thing in my journal will be, don't believe everything I think.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Judge
joining Happy and Better.TV. We were very, very blessed to have you with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. Well, folks, that's it for this time. We hope to see you again soon. Remember, keep your suggestions coming in to us on the website, and let us know who you'd like to have on the show, what you'd like to hear about, because really, this show is for you and about you. God bless you. Thank you.